Most people, I imagine, like sensible holidays. They might choose a nice beach, somewhere warm with comfortable chairs. This trip was not like that at all. It involved a lot of ice, and very few comfortable chairs. In fact, no chairs for long stretches. Just walking. And more walking. It sounded quite mad, to be honest. So why travel from the North Pole to the South Pole? It is a rather long way, you see. The poles are extreme places. They are cold, remote, and difficult. Humans seem to like difficult things. It is a challenge, they say, like climbing a very tall mountain, because it is there, as they also say. Our planet is quite something, really. The North Pole is not what you might think. It's a place of extremes, where the environment is as harsh as it is beautiful. The vast expanse of ice and snow stretches out endlessly, creating a landscape that is both mesmerizing and intimidating. It is not a nice stripy pole like at a barbershop. Instead, it's an ever-changing point on a sea of ice, constantly moving and shifting with the currents and winds. There is no helpful sign saying North Pole this way. Navigating this icy wilderness requires skill, experience, and a good deal of luck. It is actually a spot on shifting sea ice. The ice floats around, making it a moving target for explorers and adventurers. This makes navigation a bit tricky. Traditional methods of finding your way don't always work here, and modern technology is essential. You could set up your tent, thinking you found a stable spot, and wake up slightly further south. The ice beneath you is constantly on the move, carrying you along with it, or north again, if you are unlucky. The unpredictability of the ice adds an element of surprise to every expedition. It keeps you on your toes, so to speak. Every moment requires vigilance and adaptability. Getting to the North Pole is an adventure itself. It's a journey that tests your limits and rewards you with unparalleled experiences. You cannot just book a bus ticket. The journey requires careful planning and preparation. First, you fly to a very northern place. This is just the beginning of your adventure, like Svalbard, which is already quite far north. This remote archipelago serves as a gateway to the Arctic. Then, a special plane takes you further. These planes are equipped to handle the extreme conditions of the Arctic. It adds to the general fun. The camaraderie and shared experiences make the journey unforgettable. Eventually, we left the sea ice behind. We reached the edge of land. This was northern Canada, or perhaps Greenland. It was still exceptionally cold, of course. The landscape was tundra, a vast, rolling, treeless expanse. It stretched as far as the eye could see, which was quite far as there were no trees, just lots of low-growing plants and rocks. Many, many rocks. Summer in the Arctic is a fleeting thing. It arrives in a rush. Tiny, hardy flowers burst into bloom. They add surprising splashes of color. Then, just as quickly, they are gone. We learn to watch our every step. As we journeyed further south, things changed. The first signs were small, stunted trees. They looked like they were struggling, which, to be fair, they probably were. Then, gradually, the trees grew taller. Soon, we were in vast forests. Canada has a lot of trees, an almost unbelievable number of trees. The landscape became greener, less stark. It was a welcome change from all the white. We began to encounter more people, small towns, then larger ones. The people were generally very friendly. Canadians are known for being polite. This, we found, was largely true. They offered us food and shelter. Sometimes the food was a bit surprising. Definitely a hot shower. Section 5. Hot and bothered steaming through the tropics. The journey continued southwards, relentlessly south. The weather started to change noticeably. It became less cold, then quite pleasant, then warm, then decidedly hot. And then it became very, very hot and humid, the kind of humid that sticks to you. Welcome, we were told, to the tropics. Our many layers of Arctic clothing were now packed deep in our bags, replaced by shorts and very light shirts. The rainforests were simply astonishing. A bewildering explosion of green. Plants grew everywhere, on everything. Trees soared high above, blocking out the sun. Vines hung down like tangled ropes. The air was thick with moisture. Section 6. Crossing the line. Equator, Shenanigans, and Southern Skies. This is where our journey takes an interesting turn, quite literally, as we cross the invisible line that divides our planet into two distinct halves. Eventually, we reached the equator. The excitement was palpable as we approached the monument that marks this significant geographical location. It is an imaginary line, of course, a concept that exists only on maps and globes. yet it holds so much importance in our understanding of the world. You cannot actually see it on the ground. There are no physical markers, no lines drawn in the dirt. It's a fascinating thought, isn't it? But it is a very important imaginary line. It represents the 0-degree latitude, the starting point for measuring distances north and south. It divides the Earth into two halves, the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere, each with its own unique climates, cultures, and ecosystems, the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. This division affects everything from weather patterns to the way water drains in a sink. We found a monument marking the spot. It was a simple structure, yet it felt monumental in its significance. We took the obligatory photographs. Everyone wanted a memento of this unique experience, standing with 1 foot in each hemisphere. 1 foot in each hemisphere. It was a fun and symbolic gesture, a way to physically connect with this imaginary line. It felt like a significant milestone. Crossing the equator was more than just a geographical achievement. It was a moment of personal triumph. Suddenly, or so it seemed, it was summer again. The warmth of the equatorial sun was a welcome change from the cooler climates we had experienced. Or perhaps it was still summer. The consistency of the weather near the equator can be quite disorienting. Or maybe it was becoming winter. Seasons get very confusing. The equator has a way of playing tricks on your sense of time and season, when you travel a long way very quickly. The rapid changes in climate and scenery can leave you feeling a bit disoriented. North of the equator, it was one season, the familiar patterns of weather and temperature that we had grown accustomed to. South of it, it was the opposite. A whole new set of seasonal rhythms and climatic conditions to adapt to. My internal calendar was thoroughly muddled. The rapid transitions in the equatorial climate had left me questioning what time of year it really was. Section 7. The world turned upside down, deserts, mountains, and the long road south. South America unfolded before us, revealing a tapestry of diverse and breathtaking landscapes. From the arid deserts to the towering mountains, every region had its own unique story to tell. A continent of incredible contrasts, where the environment could change dramatically within just a few miles. We trekked through some very dry deserts, where the sun beat down relentlessly and the landscape seemed almost otherworldly. The Atacama Desert in Chile, for instance, is a place of stark beauty and extreme conditions. It is one of the driest places on Earth, with some areas receiving less than a millimeter of rain each year. Miles and miles of sand and rock with strange sculpted landscapes that looked like they belonged on another planet. And almost no rain. Ever. The clear skies stretched endlessly, offering a stark, unchanging view. It was a harsh but beautiful place where the sunsets painted the sky in hues of orange and pink, casting long shadows over the barren land. Quite different from the steamy jungles that lay just a few hundred miles away, teeming with life and vibrant greenery. Then came the Andes Mountains, a colossal range that stretched down the spine of the continent. A colossal range stretching down the continent, its peaks piercing the sky and creating a formidable barrier. The peaks were incredibly high, some reaching over 20,000 feet, covered in snow and ice. Sharp, jagged, and often snow-capped, these mountains were a stark contrast to the deserts we had just traversed. Even though we were further from the poles, the high altitudes brought a chill to the air and a sense of isolation. We felt very small in their presence, dwarfed by the sheer scale of the mountains around us. Our lungs also felt small, struggling to take in enough oxygen in the thin air. The air was thin at high altitudes, making every step a challenge and every breath a conscious effort. Section 8, Journey's End, almost, arrival in the Great White South. To reach Antarctica, we had to take a boat. There are no roads to the South Pole, not from South America anyway. We boarded a sturdy, ice-strengthened vessel. The Drake Passage lay before us. This is notoriously rough water, where the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans meet. The ship pitched and rolled, a lot. Many of our fellow passengers were seasick. I managed to keep my breakfast down, mostly. And then, we saw it. Ice. But this was different from the Arctic ice. This was Antarctic ice, on a grander scale. Huge tabular icebergs floated by. Massive ice shelves stretched for miles. Section 9. Back home slightly changed. Reflections on a planet-sized walk. The long journey was finally over. It was time to head back home. Home felt a little strange at first. So much green grass, so many trees, so many ordinary everyday comforts, like soft beds and unlimited hot water. things we had dreamed about for months. It took a while to readjust, to not waking up in a tent, or wondering what wildlife might visit. We certainly learned a great deal about geography, climate, and cultures, about the amazing adaptability of life, both animal and human. We also learned a lot about ourselves, about our limits and our resilience. And as I mentioned before, socks. The vital importance of good dry socks.